Coronavirus, the reopening. I'm Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group, and this is the June edition of the Insights video series. And in this video series, I want to talk about the reopening of the economy from the coronavirus issues, the shutdown that we had imposed upon us. I want to highlight some issues that you can utilize to protect yourselves. And I want to make sure that you have some information that the absence of which could actually put you in harm's way. So before I start, I'll tell you this is June 19th that I'm recording this. The data that I provide are from June 19th, 18th, and 17th. So the data are current. I also want to note that the spot on my forehead yesterday, I had a little bit of surgery to remove precancerous growth, so nothing to worry about. Sorry that I look slightly different today because of that. Anyhow, let's go on to the important information. So first point, the places from which you can get valid, helpful, usable information about current statistics and how to protect yourself and things to avoid doing. Unfortunately, the sources for that information have become narrowed. So for example, the US CDC, the organization has become politicized and messaging has started to become massaged for political purposes. The World Health Organization also seems to be increasingly politicized. You can go to the Southern Nevada Health District to get appropriate information. Their website has current statistics. Their website has current and appropriately understandable information about how to protect yourself, activities that you should avoid engaging in, activities that are perfectly fine for you to engage in. So please rely on the Southern Nevada Health District for your information. And you can verify anything that you want to there. If you're finding contrary information somewhere else, rely on the Southern Nevada Health District information. So having said that, let's now talk about the reopening. We know that Governor Sisolak had started closing the economy and created stay-at-home orders for everybody with the very appropriate goal of slowing the spread of the coronavirus so that we could maintain capacity in our hospitals so that people who have other health conditions would still be able to get access to health care and so that we could make sure that we were taking care of all of those people who actually needed to have emergency services related to COVID-19 as well. So initially that was called Nevada United Roadmap to Recovery. Additional very clever made-for-TV miniseries type naming conventions have been created by the governor's office. And so we then went into phase one, Battle-Born Beginnings, where Battle-Born is sort of the motto of the state of Nevada. We now are in, and have been for the past 2 weeks, in phase two, which is Silver State Stabilization. And is the Silver State stabilizing? Yes, the economy seems to be stabilizing. We're certainly not getting worse. Numbers actually are improving in many regards. However, there have been significant upticks in the spread of coronavirus in Nevada. And so that's one of the things I want to make sure that we talk about so that you can be prepared for potentially future restrictions being imposed, reimposed into the environment, as well as potential for ongoing contagion from the coronavirus. So a couple of things. We are still in a pandemic. You need to remember that. We are still in a pandemic. In the US this morning, so about 4 hours ago, the current number of deaths reported from COVID-19 120,250. Now I want to put that number in perspective. And I also want to caution you, that number, that's not a substitute for deaths that would have occurred right? That's in addition to the deaths that occurred from heart failure, from stroke, from cancer, from traffic accidents. 120,250 surplus deaths have occurred. And those deaths have been occurring over the past 112 days. That's less than 4 months. So for perspective, let's compare that to war deaths. In the Korean War, there were about 58,000 people who died. In fact, if we take from the Korean War all the way forward to present day, there were 105,455 total deaths that took place in Korea, in Vietnam, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in the Cold War with the Soviet Union, and the Cold War with China, etc., and including the almost 3,000 Americans who died on 9/11. That number, 105,455. We're 15,000 more than that. Combat-related deaths, right? Those are all war deaths, including traffic accidents that took place in combat zones and other things like that. Actual combat deaths, killed in action during that entire time, 84,760. If we look at total deaths that took place in World War I, 116,516. We've exceeded the number of deaths, total deaths that took place in World War I. So, not counting World War I, Korea War to present, 105,455. That's over a 70-year period. So, a little less than a third of the entire time the U.S. has existed as a country, all people who died, Americans who died in war zones. We've exceeded that. We've exceeded that by 15,000. 70 years worth of wars and 4 months worth of coronavirus deaths. This is actually a really serious health issue. And this continues. Every day over the past 2 weeks, Nevada has seen and Clark County has seen escalating numbers of infected, of hospitalizations, of ICU bed utilizations, and increasing numbers of deaths. In fact, kind of interestingly, Nevada has now experienced 478 deaths from coronavirus. It's over 4 months. Clark County has seen 390 deaths from coronavirus over 4 months. In the 3 years of the Korean War, Nevada lost a total of 149 people. Clark County has seen well over twice that in 4 months from the coronavirus. Now, new cases are increasing nationally. Nationally, the number of total cases from coronavirus, 2.221 million infected as of yesterday. And 63% of those infected are active, meaning people have not yet died or become cured, recovered, right? 63%. So we still are on the upswing in total number of infections in the US, in Nevada, in Clark County. And this compares to some other states around us that are quite worse, but are problematic for us. Arizona, the infection rate is 11.1%. Colorado, the infection rate is 11.5%. Utah, the infection rate is 5.5%. Nevada, the infection rate 2 days ago when I started collecting the data for this video was 5.2%. Nevada is now 5.41%. Our infection rate, meaning the number of positives divided by the number of people who are being tested, has started going up over the past 2 weeks. Now, what that means is, while we're getting a lot of new testing taking place, which is good, we need to know who's positive and who's not, who's at risk and who's not. it's not simply more testing that's causing these higher numbers of infections, because the rate of infection across testing is actually going up, as are the number of hospitalizations. That indicates that we actually are experiencing increased spread in the community of the coronavirus. And as our casinos on the Strip and downtown are reopening, as our malls are reopening, we're getting increased number of visitors flying in from neighboring states, from driving in from neighboring states, and many of those states have higher incidence of, higher rates of infection with coronavirus. And remember, you don't have to be symptomatic to be positive with the coronavirus. You don't have to have a fever, you don't have to have a cough. You may still be positive for coronavirus, and you may be spreading the disease to others even though somebody's asymptomatic. So we have a lot of people now starting to come back from out of state, from Arizona, where the infection rate is well over twice what we have here, from Colorado, where the infection rate is well over twice what we have here, from California, where the infection rate is a little bit higher than what we have here, especially from Southern California, from Los Angeles area, considerably higher than what we have here. These people are coming to Las Vegas to enjoy themselves. And many of them are not taking protective steps. So yeah, sure, they get temperature monitoring when they come in and check into a hotel. But you don't have to have a temperature to be positive for coronavirus. So why do I say this to you? Because I want you to think about how to protect yourself. I want you to realize you need to continue to protect yourself. So how do you do that? Be aware as you're walking around. Pay attention to your environment and the people in your environment. Try to stay socially distant to the extent that you can. Try to keep at least 6 feet between you and other people. Also, wear a mask. Wearing a mask is more about protecting other people, but it may give you some level of protection yourself from what you're breathing in. But if everybody's wearing masks, we're all protecting everybody else. And so if you find yourself in an environment where other people are not wearing masks, you should be somewhat concerned, and you should make sure you're even more consciously paying attention to socially distancing. So it's mid-June, it's getting hot here in Nevada, as it does at this time of year. And when it gets hot, we all want to be able to wear t-shirts or short sleeve shirts. We all want to be able to wear shorts when we go outside. This year, you might want to reconsider some of that. If you're going to be in environments where people cannot be socially distant, if you're going to be in environments where people are not wearing face masks, remember the coronavirus will survive on surfaces, on wood railings and metal railings and tables that you sit down at to eat or what have you. You might actually want to consider, it's not personal protective equipment. It's not a perfect solution, but you don't want to walk around in a hospital gown all of the time. Wear long sleeves, wear long pants. It'll give you some additional level of protection. And it's not super annoying, it's not super inconvenient. And if you get too hot, then maybe you'll go back to an environment where you're going to be able to maintain a little bit more social distance. I'm saying these things not to be alarmist. I'm saying these things not to cause you great angst. I'm saying these things because we all want to be able to go out there and engage with other people. We're social by nature, and being apart from people is really hard. But we need to be really thoughtful about how it is that we engage with other people right now. We don't want to go out there and infect ourselves and or infect other people by being stupid. Be careful, be considerate, wear a mask, maintain social distance. If you're going to be in environments where those are harder, make sure you're wearing long sleeves. And make sure you're washing your hands a lot, especially if you're around other people. So some of us don't have the opportunity because we're essential employees or because we work in environments that are tourism related. We don't have the opportunity to protect ourselves as much as we might like to. The governor's office is actually considering imposing some new restrictions requiring face masks. The Gaming Control Board has just decided face masks are required at table games. We're likely to see more stringent restrictions put in place to start to try to reestablish some of the protections that have been reduced maybe a little bit too quickly, especially as we bring others in. I can tell you within the last day, 3 casinos in Arizona have decided to close down because of the spread of coronavirus that's taking place in those environments. Apple today announced they're closing some of their retail locations that they had reopened because of spreading of coronavirus. We're going to see increasing numbers of restrictions likely coming, and that's going to occur either because employees don't want to go to unsafe environments, reasonably, or because employers have decided they don't want to put their employees or their customers at risk, reasonably, or because the government stepped back in and says, we're moving too quickly, we need to dial this back. There are ways we can open. There are ways we can protect ourselves while doing so. It requires thought, it requires consideration, it requires care. And we all need to make sure that we step up with thought, consideration, and care, even if others around us are not. And when they're not, we might want to call them out on it. We certainly want to make sure that we take extra precautions when others are not being thoughtful and considerate and careful. So, how do things look beyond the coronavirus? Well, the unemployment rate in the state of Nevada had in April gotten to approximately 30%. It's dropped to about 25.3% in May. We're in June with additional reopenings, and so we know the unemployment rate is continuing to drop. In Las Vegas, the unemployment rate had actually gotten to 33.5% in April. We know that things are opening. We don't have current statistics, but we have every reason to believe that that number has dropped considerably below 30% now. We know that in real estate, over the last 7 days, over the last 1 week from June 11th to June 18th, there were 623 closed sales transactions. So people are still buying and selling real estate. We obviously see people are going out and getting gas for their cars and they're driving on the roads. Traffic is increasing considerably again in the Las Vegas metro area. So we know that things are economically recovering. We know certainly the weather's recovering. We know that life goes on, that the world has not ended. Things will improve. We just need to make sure that we're careful about how quickly we move forward and how considerate and conscious we are of the risks that are taking place around us as we move forward. And if any of you need help thinking through housing, we know that in this environment, a couple of things have happened with regard to housing. One, certainly some people have found themselves significantly financially constrained, and that's meant that they've not been able to pay rent, or it's meant they've had to take a forbearance on their mortgage. Unemployment insurance is being paid out to pretty much everybody who's filed a claim that was not somehow faulty. So unemployed, self-employed people are able to collect now, gig workers are able to collect now, and those payments are actually being made. And so that should help stabilize some income here in the Valley. And that should help actually with your grocery bills, your housing bills, your insurance bills, and those sorts of things, and help you feel like you're getting back on your feet. Is employment re-rises, that obviously will get you back into the position you had been if you've suffered a loss of income. For those who've taken mortgage forbearances, hopefully you'll be able to start to negotiate with your lender whether or not you're going to have to make a balloon payment to make up all of the months of payment you missed, or if you can roll that to the end of your loan. Or maybe increase the size of your house. Maybe you found that being locked in, your house isn't actually sufficient for you. You need more space, or you need a larger yard, or you need a pool. You need something that your current living environment hasn't really been able to provide you. Or maybe you're currently renting and you're realizing you don't want to be at the mercy of a landlord who themselves may be having financial problems, or who decides they want to increase your rent costs, or who's not able to supply you with housing that has a balcony or a backyard or your own particular set of outdoor features to engage with. And so you may be deciding you need a larger place or a smaller place, or move to a condo or something. Give us a call. We can help you with that. We have helped multiple people in real estate transactions during the time of the coronavirus. We've helped people even before the coronavirus issues with completely virtual transactions where all showings and all document signings have taken place virtually. We can help you in a much more traditional sort of sense as well, showing you properties, getting you into contract, getting you through a contract. Or if you've got a property that you're wanting to sell because you need to change your mortgage situation, we can help you with that. There's no reason to get a year down the road and be in a great level of distress in a distressed property situation where the current environment allows you to engage much more affirmatively in the real estate process. So at the Chong Miller Group, we specialize in helping people buy and sell homes. We'd love to help you in your real estate adventures. We'd love to help you with your real estate questions. Give us a call. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up button. If you want to subscribe, go right ahead, but it turns out the thumbs up button is actually really important to allow the YouTube algorithms to be able to make sure that other people get to see this video as well. So if you think it's helpful, please hit the thumbs up button so that other people will be able to see it and gain the help as well. I'm Justin Miller. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video or in person. Give us a call.